See you too.
Call to order the meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, Monday, August 26, 2019 at 6 o'clock. As always, we'll start off with invocation and Vice Chairman Walker's turn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Father, we thank you for opportunities like this to serve our fellow citizens, our neighbors, and to serve you. We thank you for the trust and confidence that folks have put in us to allow us to hold the positions we hold. And we hope by virtue of that we're able to make the decisions that you would have us to make in a way that you would have us to make them. We ask that you be with any who have a special need, whatever it might be, whether it's just frustration with life, finances, health, or need your protecting hand or whatever. We ask that you be with them. Thank you, Lord, for our many blessings and for Christ, your Son, our Savior. It's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please continue to stand for our pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll start off with the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I have two budget amendments that needs to be added to this meeting. This agenda, budget amendment number 20, which is $7,500 to replace an air conditioner that has failed at the Stokes Opportunity Center. So Mark Delahunt, our maintenance supervisor, is requesting that he be able to go ahead and place this on order and get a new unit at that location. This is something that was done in '93, so it's held up for a good while, but this is the price he's got to move forward with that. Then you got budget amendment number 21, and that is the $1,000 for the American Legion Department of North Carolina for the memory of the North Carolina citizens who served in World War I. That Chairman Nicholson brought to you guys' attention last board meeting.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Oakley. Somebody would like to make a motion with the two amendments?
I'll move with the two amendments.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Next, we'll have our comments from our commissioners and our manager, and I'll start down with Commissioner Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just two things real quick. Welcome to everybody that's here tonight or hopefully are watching us on television, either one. I attended the NCACC annual meeting the last 3 days. Well, not last 3 days, last Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It was down at the Grand Over Resort in Greensboro, and they did a really good job. Picked up a lot of good information that I'll be sharing with the staff where applicable. I recently attended a groundbreaking ceremony at Forsyth Tech out Smith Reynolds Airport for the new aircraft maintenance facility that they're building. They are building a really first-class facility to teach people to work on and be mechanics for aircraft and other areas related to aircraft maintenance and so forth. So that's a big building. It'll be constructed there on the airport property. Then last of all, I did do a blog entry for our hospital board of trustees meeting that we had prior to our last regular meeting. So feel free if you'd like to get a summary of that meeting by looking at my blog. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Morris. Commissioner Walker.
Thanks, sir. I also attended our commissioners' conference and learned some things. I look forward to going each year, and I wasn't disappointed this year. There was a lot of good information. Some of it kind of ho-hum, but some of it really got my attention. One thing in particular that caught my attention in a pretty serious way was went to a seminar, and I thought it would have nothing to do with Stokes County. I thought, that's somewhere else. That's not going to be something that we have to deal with in our county. We have pretty calm, practical way of looking at things. Most of us have good neighbors. Sheriff does his job. And as they started presenting the material, more and more I realized this could be happening in our county and we wouldn't even know about it. It was human trafficking. Wow. The more they shared information with us, the more I found myself thinking, gee, this could be happening right here in our county. That's not the kind of thing, I wouldn't think it's the kind of thing our sheriff makes a lot of arrests for. But we learned some very good ways to identify the possibility of that type of thing happening. It was things like our departments, when there's unusual activity. Maybe a planning and zoning inspector goes to inspect a property and sees some things that just don't look right. There might be information there that needs to be shared with the sheriff's department or DSS to look further, just to see if there is a possibility things are happening that shouldn't be happening. That was just one session. There were several others. They keep you pretty busy at a conference like that. You go from one thing to another. And when I come back, I have a chance to think about all the sessions I attended and all the information I received. And I think it helps me do a better job as a commissioner. I really think it helps me grow and helps me have a broader perspective and understand things better. And I think it's time very worthwhile and it's well spent. Another thing too, on a positive note, I really like this temperature for the past couple of days. It's quite a bit better than some of the weeks we've had before. But let me stop there and give the other folks a turn. Good to see each of you. Gonna miss one of them. Gonna miss Melissa. She sort of got my attention too when I came in and said we might not be seeing her much, but she's brought her helper with her, I guess it's safe to say replacement, and looking forward to working with him. Your name again, please, sir?
Reed Thornburg.
Reed Thornburg. Well, I want to welcome you, and hope you'll enjoy your work here with the Stokes County folks, and glad to have you working with us. Melissa, you've been a joy and a good resource and an asset for our county serving in a position you have, and I wish you well wherever your career takes you next. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Yance?
Thank you, Commissioner Nicholson. Keep it brief. I'd like to welcome everyone out tonight. Thanks for coming out. A beautiful late August afternoon. I'd much rather be hiking or sitting up by the lake this afternoon, but thanks for coming and joining us here. Hopefully, we'll move the county along and we'll make some good decisions tonight. And thanks again. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Minham?
Thank you. And I want to thank everyone also for coming out tonight. It's good to see some familiar faces. In fact, I think I've seen all of your faces at one time or another. I also attended the ACC conference that Commissioners Morris and Commissioner Walker attended. They had several good breakout sessions, I thought, that were very applicable. And I would say this, whereas Commissioner Walker addressed the human trafficking situation, I had a very interesting breakout session with people from Guilford County that presented the way they were tackling the opioid crisis, what they were doing out there, and had a heartfelt, heartbreaking story from a gentleman whose daughter passed away when she was 24 from an overdose, and I think there were a lot of tears shed as he went through that situation, but it was a very worthwhile conference, and as I said, we were able to attend 2 to 3 breakout sessions a day, had a general session on Saturday, and then some voting that went on in the afternoon. The lady that gave us our general session actually worked in the White House as an intern with one of our former presidents, and she addressed different leadership skills and styles in her presentation. I thought it went real well. I was very pleased with it this year. I thought they had probably some of the best breakout sessions in the 3 years I've gone. Melissa also, I've been on the Triad Advisory Council. We're going to miss you out there, and we're going to miss you here in Stokes County. Wish you the best. Looking forward to working with your replacement. And I'm trying to think, if our Board of Commissioners have not received it yet, it'll be coming in the mail or their email. Our new president at Forsyth Tech, Dr. Spriggs, she'll be having her presidential inauguration in September, and all the commissioners are invited to that. And I'd like to encourage where Stokes and Forsyth cooperation works together on the Forsyth Tech level. If you get a chance to go to that, I would encourage you to do so. But thank you for being out tonight. I appreciate it. Everybody that's watching on YouTube, thank you. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Mendenhall. Also, I'd like to welcome each and every one of y'all being here and those watching live. With that, I'm just going to go ahead and move on to our County Manager, Mr. Oakley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple of things here I'd like to talk to the board about. One of them is our Sheriff Mike Marshall has overseen the animal shelter now for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. Anyway, they have got now 2, if not more, very favorable reports in the states on how they have turned the animal shelter around over here in Sizemore Road. But I'd like to thank Mr. Marshall for his hard work in that, and Chris Lawson, who he's got stationed to that area, and his hard work. And thank you guys for that, and recognize you for that. And other things that you got at your desk for that you need to recognize it or let us know about, as far as maybe something Forsyth Tech is doing. If you want to attend, get with us and let Shannon and myself know, and we'll try to book it for you. But other than that, welcome everyone.
Thank you, sir. With that, we'll move on to our public comments. I believe we have just one, Miss Ellen Perrick.
Shannon wasn't here last week. I forgot to state my name and address. Ellen Perrick, 1095 Wheeler Smith Road, Lawsonville. I'm here to give you an update on the arts. We had 2 great shows this weekend. On Saturday night, we had Josh Shelton do a musical presentation, and he grew up here in Stokes County. And then on Sunday, we had a great attended show by Laura Lynn Dossett, who lives up here off Lynchburg Road. And for her concert, we had many attendees from Winston-Salem and Greensboro. And of course, as always, people are always seeing our place for the first time. And they're coming in and they're going, wow, this is fantastic. We had no idea. And many of them took information and said, we'll be back. So I think it's just great the way some of these musical entertainers can reach out so far. On August 27th, we're going to have a 4th Tuesday paint series with Craig Richards, who's one of our artists in the loft. And he's going to teach people how to paint a waterfall. And that's at 6 p.m. On August 29th is our Danbury Songwriters series. Richard Boyd and Todd Verts are going to be playing, and that's 7 p.m. That's only $5. August 31st, Martina Moore, who, as many of you know, was a resident here for many, many years. She now lives in Winston, but she's teaching a children's mask workshop, and she's going to teach a lot more classes for us. She is also volunteering at the Arts Place. So that's at 10 a.m. on August 31st. On September 1st, we have trivia night, 6:30 p.m. free, a donation for food that we provide, and that's been going very well and very well attended. September 6th, we have an Apple Gallery reception. The artist featured is Amanda Gordon. As you all know, Amanda went to school here, graduated here, and is now teaching at a magnet school in Forsyth. But that will have a reception at 5:30, and that's free also. On September 6th and 7th, we have musical theater auditions. Broadway comes to Danbury, and those are going to be at 5 p.m. on the 6th and at 2 p.m. on the 7th. So if you know anybody who wants to get into theater, we have a lot of people who are interested in being on stage in this county. On September 7th, beginner pottery workshop, 9 a.m. This is something that I don't think we can have enough pottery classes, because every time we have one, people say they didn't get in. So this is going to be filled up really quickly. September 7th, Once Upon a Saturday Children's Theater. We've been doing several of these, and this is a free show for kids at 11 a.m. on Saturdays, and this one's called Animal Tales. Always well attended, and, you know, for the kids to get them musically, they get up and participate, so it's really a great event. I made everybody a cheat sheet, so you can have some, if people ask you about things in the county, you can tell them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Okay, we'll move on to our consent agenda now. I have a motion. Second. Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Move on to our discussion agenda, or information agenda now.
Mr. Chairman, we have Cardinal Innovation here with us this afternoon, giving us a quarterly report. And like you've already done, recognized, Mrs. Bunker is leaving us and going to work the area that she lives in.
They got me up close today.
You have to be on camera.
And you have Reed Thornburg that will be taking her place here. And I wish both of you the best of luck at your new endeavors.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate you all having us here quarterly. Real quickly, I don't have a ton for you tonight. I've got just sort of some major updates to the leadership team, some information about Reed and myself swapping. Here on the screen, you see just a couple of changes that have happened at our corporate level. We had an interim Chief Operations Officer, Rudy Dimbling, who was with us for a while, and he decided actually to stay on and is helping us to prepare for the tailored plan launch for Cardinal Innovation. So he's really helping us to build a transformation office, helping us to figure out what we don't have as an organization that we will need in order to be prepared to handle both physical health care and behavioral health care for the members that stay with us. We have a new chief medical officer actually that's joined us since this presentation has been put together. Her name is Wendy Welch. And the senior vice president medical director is still Dr. Pamela Wright-Etter. We had our network operations director was promoted to vice president of network operations, and we've had a couple of other directors come on in our community operations department. But one of the biggest things that's happened is our board approved our governance structure. I know we talked with you all about sort of shifting around how our board of directors gets information from the community, and we are, of course, in 20 counties. So they sort of shifted that around, and with that shift, gave the opportunity for myself and Reed to sort of swap regions. And mainly that's happening from a work-life balance standpoint. I live in Mecklenburg County, right on the edge of Cabarrus, and Reed actually lives in the northern part of Davidson County. And so he was managing counties that was 45 minutes to upwards of 2 hours from his house. I was doing the same. And so they gave us the opportunity to swap. And so he and I accepted that opportunity, and that is why you are getting a different senior community executive up here going forward. So Reed will be with you in the future. So real briefly, I don't want to get too bogged down in this because this can get complicated, but want you guys to understand that Medicaid transformation means that actually us as an organization, we will be losing numbers of members and families in our health plan. This will happen as of basically November of this year. A lot of our members who were really in a routine phase, they were not in a situation where they needed critical care or a lot of complex support. Those members are going to transition over to what's called a standard plan. So they will have the opportunity to choose a new health insurance company of the 5 that the state of North Carolina chose would be able to offer that conjoined integrated care plan. And then basically what that means is by November, what is going to be left with Cardinal are those who are needing the most care and the most critical interaction with our providers. So our numbers are going to drop sort of significantly. So we'll end up having about 79,000 people who are still involved in some of the services that we provide, or excuse me, that our providers provide, and then we have about 40,000 members who we work with on a regular basis, a lot of your IDD individuals who need a lot of extra support and care. And then we will continue to cover the indigent population, the population that has no Medicaid at all or no insurance. We will still be receiving funds, although not enough of them from the state, but what we will be receiving funds that we will be managing for that population. So what you all might want to know about the constituents in your community is that this county was one of the counties that was in the first round of changes. So you may have had members and families who received a letter from the state giving them the opportunity to sign up or choose a plan, or maybe they received a letter that said that they are exempt, which basically means you're in the tailored plan. But it has caused some confusion for communities and families, and if you all do have that happen, you can refer them to the DSS office, where there is they have connection with a Maximus, which is the broker that helps people to get connected to the plan. So Maximus is sort of that group that helps a family determine what plan they need to choose based on the services that plan offers. So just a real brief update for you on the Senate Bill 630 in this county. Ty has been working on your transportation plan, and I understand Sheriff Marshall is going to be weighing in on that plan here very soon, and you all will be receiving probably in September a suggestion for how the county is going to handle the transportation for those who are undergoing involuntary commitment. I can tell you that the process is the same. There was no change to that process. A lot of people in this county were already using the behavioral health urgent care in Forsyth County to support those members and families or individuals who are needing to have a support for behavioral health crisis. So everything is sort of, the process is not any different. It's just basically the state requiring counties to put it down on paper and for you all to sort of ratify it, adopt it. And then that piece goes up and is attached to a larger crisis plan that we are required to turn in. So everything's on track right now for the county to be within compliance and to hit their deadline. So I think we're good there. And then just an update briefly on the foster care pilot that we have shared with you all in the past. Obviously, the budget's in a stalemate in Raleigh, and this particular, these budget dollars are tied up in that budget. But we are still hopeful that we will still be able to do a pilot for the foster care system, and the 4-county region is still very invested in that. So we'll be getting back together on October 2nd to sort of see where is the budget, is there a budget, is there not a budget, what do we want to do as a work group in the 4 counties and working with our DSSs to move this plan forward if the budget doesn't pass. So more to come on that. And that's all I had for you all today.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Does any commissioner have any comments? Commissioner Walker?
You don't seem surprised.
I was going to say, it's not going to be my last night unless Commissioner Walker has a question.
I spent some time with your CEO, Mr. Trey Sutton.
Oh, yes.
He and 3 other leaders of similar organizations were in one of the breakout sessions. They were the panel.
Yep.
It was interesting to see 4 folks in that position who could not give definitive answers.
No.
They tried.
I'm sure they
They
did.
just couldn't do it. And they kept saying, this was the kind of catch-all phrase that they kept using was, as soon as they clear it up in Raleigh and we get more information about how things are going to be, we'll know more what's going to happen. And so I heard that through that presentation pretty often. But I left that session, Melissa, realizing how complicated, how complex this transition is going to be. And I thought, wow, this is going to take some getting used to and some working together, because it's going to be quite different from what we've been used to before. But I appreciate you sharing the information you have. I don't like your date of November 19th, by the way. This past year on November 19th, a deer and I got together about
Oh, I remember that.
200 yards up the road there. And I remember November 19th pretty well. But looking forward to kind of feeling our way along, I guess, as we go into this next phase with Medicaid. Transportation has been an issue in our county for many years. And we've attempted in various ways to address that issue, but it just keeps staying there. And do you see the possibility that some of the changes, you mentioned Ty working on an agreement, that type thing, what is that going to do compared to the way things have been?
That particular transportation plan is very specific for individuals who are needing to be undergoing involuntary commitment.
Okay,
So that is very specific for IVC. That's that transportation plan.
so just the general needs concerning mental health, substance abuse, we haven't pushed things farther down the road too much, sounds like, with a new transportation plan, because if this is that specific, it's only going to involve a certain select number of individuals.
That's right. Yes, that, the Senate Bill 630 is specific for someone who needs involuntary commitment. Now, I can tell you that transportation is also going to go through a bit of a change over the course of the next few years. The plans, the health plans that we just mentioned, the standard plans and the tailored plans, they will become responsible for transportation for those members.
Okay.
There will be a Medicaid piece to that. So, cross fingers, you hope that that's going to increase access to transportation and hopefully increase access to services and therefore increase your positive outcomes with people being compliant in going to their appointments, their medical appointments that they should be going to. So that is something that you'll see over the course of the next few years. So hopefully transportation will become not as much of a social determinant of health because hopefully there'll be more access to it because Medicaid is coming out to help support that.
That would be good. Do you have any suggestions at this phase of the process, looking at this transformation? Anything particularly for our departments that will be mainly involved, like, I guess, social services? Any suggestions you can think of at this phase of it?
Just to support the families and the members who may get a letter and they don't really know what to do with it. So, obviously our team can support Stacy and Tammy and the other directors of the departments of DHHS and stuff here in Stokes County. We can certainly help members and families get where they need to go. But ultimately, there's going to be some confusion. So for them to have somebody that's going to listen and help them and give them as best a place to go to get answers, that would be my best suggestion.
Very good. It's probably going to push some people out of their comfort zone because they've been used to things being certain ways, and then all of a sudden they're having to make choices and make decisions, and I can see how some folks would be uneasy, sort of need a little extra patience or assistance. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Mr. Morris?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Melissa, thanks for the great service you've given the county. Remember at one time, the relationship between you guys and DSS wasn't perfect. And
That's right.
You and Rhonda Outlaw and
That's right.
probably a few other folks really worked to repair that and really fixed it and had a real positive impact on our foster care, which is one of my number one items of interest. So
Yep.
we appreciate you, all you've done for us, and wish you success as you go forward.
Thank you. We can't always get it right, but we can certainly try and keep trying.
One quick question, are you guys going to have a force reduction with this Medicaid expansion, or will you just be shifting folks around?
It's just really shifting of dollars. Our financial money that comes from is not going to change, because remember, we're also now getting that pop, like, we'll be handling the physical health also, and the pharmacy of the members that stay with our tailored plan. So although we get a chunk of money to cover their behavioral health and their, those services, there will also be funds that will come to cover their physical health as well. So if anything, we will either stay the same, our administrative dollars should stay the same. If anything, we would be growing slightly, because we will have, our care coordinators, for instance, or different teams will have that much more knowledge they need to have about physical health and pharmacy. And so, no, numbers will not change.
Okay, great.
We're not anticipating that.
Okay, great. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Morrison? You know, okay. Melissa, thank you. I know it's only been a couple times since we've met, but,
Has been just a few.
yeah, I've heard, good things from previous board and some of the members on this board. We appreciate all that you've done for our county, and looking forward to working out with, Mr. Thornburg, so.
Yep.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
guys
much.
very much. I appreciate it.
We'll move on now to our discussion agenda. Up first, we have the Walnut Coast Senior Center Advisory Council appointment requests. And I'll turn it over to our manager, Mr. Oakley.
Chairman, this right here is a vacancy in our Walnut Coast Senior Center Advisory Council. And we have a lady, Linda Brown, from the Germantown area, has expressed interest in serving on this council. Attached, you will see her application where she's applied for it and hoping to serve the community in the senior center. So with that, I would be asking the board to approve her as this appointee.
Questions or comments?
Question.
Yes, sir.
Jake, is there any input from the senior center folks regarding who they would like to have on their advisory council?
This information from the senior citizen comes into Vicky, and then Vicky funnels it into us.
So this has gone through Vicky to get to us.
That
was kind of what I was getting at.
right, the folks that have applied and ones that has an interest in other questions, it goes through her office.
Very good. All I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Is there any more questions or comments? Is there any urgency to this at all?
No, it has to be advertised. You have to just open the floor for nominations, and then I'll advertise it on the county website, and then you'll approve it in action at the next meeting.
Okay.
Motion to close. With Ms. Brown being our first.
Motion.
And of course, how to go to action after that.
Commissioner Moore, second there. Any more discussion?
So you're nominating Mrs. Brown
I am,
and moving it to nominations be closed.
Yes. Asking it to be moved that if it's approved, asking it to be moved to action.
All in favor,
Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Move it to action next time around then. All right, moving on to the next on discussion agenda, the Stokes County Jury Commission appointments. Mr. Oakley?
Chairman and board members, this right here is a committee that oversees and revises and looks over the jury that has been selected for the year. Jason Tuttle has requested that we approve the member, Durwood Bennett. He has currently held his position, and I personally called him and asked him if he would like to do it again, and he is accepted. And so I'm asking the board if they would approve Mr. Bennett as a juror, appoint to this commission.
Okay. All right, now, so this is before the end of September, so it would be at the next meeting. All right, any questions or comments from the board?
Is this an appointment by the board, or is it nominations? It's a different process from what we just used, isn't
In the past, you've done it the same procedure, but it's still an appointment by the board. But you'd also open the floor.
So
and
we will open it for nominations.
And it needs to be placed on there.
Okay. Motion been?
And we would need to open it for nominations, nominate Mr. Bennett, and then close the nominations. I'll nominate Durwood Bennett.
Any more discussion?
Well, we need to
Close nominations.
second.
Any
Make a motion
discussion?
to close nomination.
Thought he just did.
Did he? Second it then.
I'll second it.
I'll third it then.
Jamie,
All
you
in
wanna-
favor on that, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right.
Fourth it, Jamie.
Move on to the Pine Hall Shelter Trail Update and Fee Proposal. Ms. Pruitt? How you doing tonight?
I'm good, here we go.
You're doing good.
Well, I'm pleased to announce that I met with Perry and Adam last week, and the shelter has come along great. We hope to be finished with it probably next week. They're working on the grading now. Everything's going good. I talked to Mr. Petrie. He was excited about that. While I was there, I went in and talked with Tara from LifeBright, and she had a couple questions on the rental of the shelter, kind of like we're doing the community center now. We kind of threw around some different options. Her and I discussed, we thought it was a good idea to be able to rent either or. I mean, if you wanted to do both, you could, but that way you would have a couple of different options. Some people like to do indoors, some people like outdoors. That way we would have different options. Currently, what we do for the community center, and my suggestion is that we continue that with the shelter. And it's a $100 deposit that's returned if everything's good after the evaluation by her. Then we do a $50 rental fee for a county residence and $75 rental fee for non-county. It's been great success with the community center that's there. She said that most weekends they are actually renting it both Saturday and Sunday. They've had to kind of turn people away. So she has never had a complaint about the fee. Everybody's been pleased with the fee. But we also want to have like some signage if the shelter's not rented, that people, if they just drop by or out using the walking trail, want to have a picnic, they're welcome to use it. It's not that we don't want anyone to use it just for the moment. They're welcome to. But we do want to be able to reserve it. So if somebody wants to have a birthday party, they can advertise that's where they're having, send her invitations, so on and so forth. So that's what I would like to recommend to the board, to proceed on with that, if y'all are happy with that also.
Ms. Pruitt, any questions or comments from the board?
I'd just like to say that this has really been a tremendous success. And tell you, to Mr. Petrie and his family, I give kudos for their generosity to Stokes County. It's been tremendous. And I visit the Pine Hall area quite regularly. And it is being used. I want everybody that's watching on YouTube and in this room to know that this has been a success. People in Pine Hall love it.
They do.
I've been to 3 events there myself, a couple of showers. I stayed in the car my wife went in. But I really just think it's really, the way it's been handled now is great and used on a regular basis. And I just say once again, I just want to thank the Petrie family, Mr. Petrie and his family. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Mendenhall. Commissioner Morris?
Yeah, I'd like to echo those comments about Ron Petrie. He's just a super guy and has really been a great benefactor for Stokes County. One quick question. I thought when we first set the building up, weren't we renting it in segments during the day, like so much for half a day? And then
I think they can do if they choose to. She didn't mention that they were doing half. I think the copper plant across the road, I think they use it a lot, the meeting room, during the daytime hours. But she didn't mention they were doing anything, but that could be an option I can ask.
so what these prices are for a full day?
That's my understanding.
Yeah, that looks
And I think that's basically how most people do. But we could look at some options for the picnic shelter, because I could see where some people may want to do mornings and some people may want to do afternoons. That would be a great option.
That's why we
to look at.
originally set up the building, rental the building, so
Okay.
you might want to take a look.
Yeah, I'll ask Tara, because this is the price that she gave me.
I think that's how she's written it now in the 4-hour segments.
Okay.
That's how
And it
I
may
understand
be.
it to be.
It
When I-
may
yeah.
be.
So you do this 4-hour segments too, or just half days, or what?
I would say whatever
Half
she's
days,
doing
right.
now, but we could talk to her and make sure exactly how she's doing it.
Okay. You intend just to make it mirror the way.
Mirror the way we're doing now.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's good, that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Morris. Commissioner Yance, Commissioner Walford. Thank you.
And just one other thing, we are gonna have a ribbon cutting and an open house September the 19th at 6. And we're gonna be spreading flyers. She sent me one today. So everyone's welcome. We're gonna put the electronic sign up at the facility so we can hopefully get the community word out.
Thank you so much, Ms. Pruitt.
Thank you.
We're going to put this on the consent agenda next meeting. All right, good deal. We'll move on to the, on our discussion agenda, the Danbury ETJ appointments. Mr. Oakley?
Chairman, this is an appointment by the town of Danbury, asking the Board of Commissioners to appoint members to the extraterritorial boundary of zoning. And these members are, they serve a 3-year term, and Mr. Donnie May, the term will expire October the 10th, and they're requesting that he be reappointed to this ETJ board, and Mr. Mabe has accepted, so I request that the board will place this on the, Mr. Mabe on the action agenda to be approved as one of these members.
Any questions or comments from the board? Everybody good with putting this on the action agenda?
Need to do the same process.
They do the same thing with nominating?
Yep.
Okay. I'd like to make a.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. We'll move on to our action agenda. All that we have in there is the American Legion Department of North Carolina. Commissioners, I believe the last time we had spoke about this, the one question I heard got back to me was y'all was wanting to know which other counties in North Carolina were also doing this. I reached back out to the gentleman who gave us the email. He informed me there was somebody else who was handling it. They have not got the answer back to me yet as far as which counties are doing this. The only thing he could tell me was there were several. That's the only answer I got back from him. So with this, I have a motion on this.
Make a motion, we approve it.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Shannon, I'll ask you to take us into closed session.
Okay, so to consider the initial employment or appointment of an individual to any office or position other than a vacancy in the Board of County Commissioners or any other public body, or to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, and fitness of any public officer or employee other than a member of the Board of Commissioners or of some other public body pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A6. Motion.
Second? All right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Yeah.
Sheriff, you never did find my other glasses, did you? I've heard of one or two people
If y'all want to
have
start down
seen
here
it.
and pass it, it's just a tax department resolution that had to be, was in consent.
Look at there's money and there's big money.
Okay, I'm turning the sound on.
Okay.
Hey.
I was in that meeting,
Okay, you got
lady,
to do
because
it.
we were sort of in trouble there at one time, and you came to the same meeting I was in. You seemed to establish a good working relationship
I make a
with that
motion,
lady from that time on. And I think now it's paid off
Yep.
for us. Right.
Commissioner Walker,
I make a motion that we adjourn.
second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Shannon, there's a bag of good stuff over here, pens and things for the staff.
I got to turn all the sound off.
So if you want to pass it out to them.
Yeah. That's a